Hey everybody, good morning. We're looking at First Chronicles chapter number 23 today, and we see that first verse here, David is anointed Solomon to be king. He made his son to be king, and you see over the rest of it, he's talking about the Levites and the people who are to serve God and stuff like that. And you see some cool things. You see that people are chosen of the Levites. They're chosen for particular tasks, and they're given particular tasks, just as God has given us things of strength in our lives and things that are not. Some people can understand the word a little better, some people need to be taught the word. Some people have higher level of discernment, some don't. Some people can heal, some don't, you see. But what I want to talk about today is that first verse. It says, "So when David was old and full of days, he made his son Solomon king of Israel." And we know from reading the past couple chapters, we know that David, this didn't just happen one day. David said, "Okay, son, here, let me teach you everything." No, he was teaching him to take the throne his whole life. He was preparing him for what is coming. And we see here that David has given it to him. There comes a time in every Christian's life, hopefully we live long enough, but there comes a time where we all need to pass on the baton and pass the baton and let the next generation take the message and advance the message of Christ. Let them take it to new places and new heights. And that is something that we all ought to be working on. And we all ought to be working on, who are we teaching what we know? Who are we teaching what we have learned? Because we all are learning something. And at the same time, we all ought to be teaching something. And I've taught on this discipleship before many times. And we see it here again, that David is able to pass on his kingdom to his son because he has been training him up in it. But David's getting to the end, and he knows he's at the end, and we look at Reverend Billy Graham just passing away, and a few years ago his son took over, and he passed the baton to his son, and I'm going to read to you from 2 Timothy chapter 4, verse 7. Here's the Apostle Paul. This is the Apostle Paul's last letter before he dies. And, how at the end of your life you can't get any more at the end of your life than this. And he says, "I have fought the good fight. I've finished the race. I have kept the faith." And he stays strong till the end. But here is his last writing to one of his sons, telling his son, you just stay strong to the end. Instructing his son to just keep your faith till the end. And he's passing the baton is what he's doing. He's giving him that 2 Timothy chapter 4 is a wonderful chapter for younger pastors and people just entering the ministry and stuff like that. That's a wonderful chapter to read, to study, to know. And it definitely helps give you some instruction and encouragement. But we see here David has been building up his son Solomon for all of this. And as a result of that, when Solomon takes over and God grants him one thing, we've talked about it before, God grants him one thing. Solomon says, "Just give me wisdom." And, he knew what to pray for and when to pray for it. And so we ought to be raising up somebody. We ought to be. There has to be another generation carrying the baton when your generation passes. Because if not, if we miss a generation, Christianity dies. And if Christianity's going to die, it's not going to be because I didn't tell somebody about it, it's not going to be because I didn't raise up somebody else. It's not going to be because I didn't put in an effort to keep the knowledge of my Christ alive. Keep that knowledge alive. I like to think of my life. I don't really care how big of a splash I make in life. That's not what I'm going for. I'm not going for that splash. If my life was a drop in a bucket of water, I'm not going for the splash. I'm going for the ripples. I want what's going to make waves. What's going to keep going long after my splash is gone. So, have a super day, guys. I love you all.